Your team shoots a 60-minute interview with the CEO. It is beautiful. It is on brand. Someone in the meeting says, "Let's get clips out of it. Let's repurpose." The editor cuts a 90-second LinkedIn version, a 30-second TikTok, a YouTube short, a 4-image carousel. Every clip feels like a worse version of the original. The seams show, the numbers come in flat. The editor is exhausted. Hi, I'm Asher, and you're listening to Content is Currency. Over the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you why one keystone asset almost never produces 12 native cuts, and the 4-stage repurpose loop that lets your team ship them in 48 hours without losing voice and without burning the editor out. Quick note before we start. This is a production pipeline, not a content strategy. It picks up where last episode's 3-block brief left off. Let's go. Here is what is actually happening when you chop a 60-minute keystone into 12 platform cuts on the fly. You are inheriting a piece of work that was made for one shape, a long horizontal sit-down, and asking your editor to translate it into 11 other shapes after the fact. The vertical TikTok had no eyeline for the phone frame. The thumbnail for the YouTube short has nothing to ground it because the original was a wide 3 camera. The LinkedIn argument has no opening line that earns the see more click because the keystone never wrote one. Every translation problem your editor is solving was decided upstream, on set, by someone who was only thinking about the long form. Repurposing is not slow because editors are slow. Repurposing is slow because nothing about the capture supported it. Picture a chef who receives a whole tuna. A serious chef does not just slice it across and serve. The chef breaks the fish down. Otoro from the belly goes to the sashimi station. Akami from the back goes to the tartare. Kama from the collar is grilled. The tail meat goes into the stew. Each prime cut has a dish it was designed for, and each dish is the best version of that part of the fish. The sashimi chef does not start with the whole tuna in front of them. They start with otoro that was butchered for sashimi. The mise en place is what every station works from. A great kitchen breaks the keystone down before the dishes start. A serious content team breaks the keystone down before the cuts ship. Why does every team end up chopping the original instead of repurposing it? 3 reasons, all of them structural. 1, the shoot happened before anyone wrote a brief for the cuts. The capture was planned for the long form. The cuts were an afterthought. The camera angles never accommodated the vertical phone frame, and now the editor is doing surgery in the timeline. 2, the asset handed off to the editor is the rendered file, not a structured bank of transcript and B-roll and tagged moments. The editor scrubs the timeline looking for usable seconds. 3, the editor is told to repurpose with no per-cut brief. So they default to the trim the long one path, which is the cheapest and worst version of the work. The pipeline is not broken because the editor is slow. The pipeline is broken because nobody designed it. Here is the system, and it is one loop with 4 stages. Stage 1, capture for the cut. You go into every shoot with the platform cuts already briefed, the angles already planned, the spoken moments already designed to survive being lifted. Stage 2, bank. After the shoot, the keystone is processed into a structured library entry, full transcript, beat map, B-roll inventory, quote list, claim list. The bank is the asset. The original file is just one withdrawal from it. Stage 3, brief. For every native cut, you write a new micro brief in last week's 3-block format, drawing from the bank. Not chopping the long one, writing a new short one from the bank. Stage 4, cut. The editor produces against the new brief. One editor, one platform, one ship. Capture, bank, brief, cut. 4 stages, one loop, 12 native pieces. Stage 1 is capture. And this is the part nobody thinks of as the production pipeline. It is the production pipeline. The day of the shoot is the most expensive day of the project. Every decision you make on set either makes the cuts cheap or makes them painful. So you arrive with the platform cuts already briefed in the 3-block format. You shoot a second wide vertical camera dedicated to the 9x16 cuts. You ask the speaker to land their best line 3 times with a beat after each one, so the editor can lift it without a frame transition. You shoot deliberate B-roll, not a few inserts. You design 2 or 3 set-piece moments that are framed for a thumbnail. The day costs the same with this planning or without it. The cuts cost 10 times less when you did it. Stage 2 is bank, and this is the step that almost no enterprise content team has. After the shoot, you do not hand the editor the rendered file. You hand them a bank. A bank has 5 things: a full transcript with time codes, a beat map that says where each idea starts and ends, a B-roll inventory tagged by subject and shot type, a quote list, every line worth pulling with time code and emotion, and a claim list, every assertion the speaker made, tagged for legal and PR review. Banking takes a producer a couple of hours after the shoot. It saves the editor a couple of days on every cut. The bank is what you write the briefs from in stage 3. The original file is just the source. The bank is the asset. Stage 3 and stage 4 are the production half. Stage 3 is brief, and it is exactly what we covered last episode. For each platform you are cutting for, write a fresh 3-block brief drawn from the bank. The spine, the platform verb, the native specs. The editor does not start with a 60-minute file and a vague instruction. They start with a written brief that says, here is the spine of this 30-second TikTok. Here is the verb the algorithm is paying for. Here is the 4-line spec. And here are the 3 bank withdrawals you are pulling from. Stage 4 is cut. The editor builds against that brief with bank materials. 12 native cuts produced this way ship in 48 hours instead of 3 weeks. And every one of them is the best version of itself. You can put this in place in 1 week. Day 1, write the bank template. 5 sections, the ones we just covered. Pin it in the Teams tools. Day 2, pre-brief your next shoot. Write the cut briefs in the 3-block format before the camera turns on. Hand them to the director and the camera operator. Day 3, run the shoot. The shot list now contains the cut-specific angles, not just the long-form coverage. Day 4, build the bank from the Day 3 footage. A producer sits with the transcript, the B-roll, the quotes, the claims. Day 5, write the cut briefs and hand them to the editor with the bank links attached. Watch the first cut come back. The seams are gone. The voice is intact. The editor is not exhausted. The numbers move. Now go build the loop. I'm Asher. This was Content is Currency from Table 8. We'll see you next episode.